I don't think so. What's up, you guys? So first off, sorry about that. Let us know if you can see and hear us okay. Um, I don't know what's going on. We use StreamYard for our morning shows like every day. I've never had an issue. So if you guys can see and hear us, just let us know. Get some words of affirmation up in here.
Microphone test 1, 2.
Microphone test 1 and 2. I'm gonna watch it on my phone here just to make sure. Okay, I think it looks like it's working. It looks like it's working. It's all good. Hello, Alexis Canty Enterprises. See there? Okay, sweet. Oh, and I did see the super chat from Palmetto Finds Reseller. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So now we got all the kinks worked out. Let's get right into the questions. So again, College Breaker, why don't you take it from the top?
I'll try to introduce myself again. I don't introduce myself very well, so I'm just like fumbling over it. But anyways,
that whole technical thing was a farce. I felt like he was butchering the introduction, so I just had to cut it off.
I'm a native Floridian, so I was born in Florida, pretty much raised there. I went to undergrad at USF in Tampa. I went to pharmacy school up in Tallahassee at Florida A&M University. I've been flipping stuff ever since undergrad at USF. So that was actually about 2007. I said 2008 before the technical difficulties, but I think it was around 2007. So I've been in the game for a long time. It was pre-smartphone flipping, which is a little bit different. I recently had my biggest sale ever, which we'll get to later in the show if everyone probably wants to hear about that, because that makes a lot exciting. Like 10 years and finally a sale like that. Been looking for something like that. I now reside in Texas, another amazing state with no state income tax. And I have worked a lot in the American Southwest with contract pharmacy. I guess that would be considered my primary profession. I don't have a gig that I'm working right now, but maybe I'll have something in the future. I don't know. I kind of bounce around a lot. I do resale, and another project kind of takes my attention away, and then I'll do that for a little bit. But resale's always running in the background pretty much. Once you have listings, it's like just there.
Yeah. You can kind of put on cruise control and just do whatever you want. So if you guys haven't seen an episode of Reseller Review before, basically this is just a get to know Eric. I've had other resellers on, and it's just a way to get to know him in a way that you might not know him if you only know from YouTube or from Instagram. And we just want it to be just real. So I've got some questions. I've got 10 questions I'm going to ask Eric over the course of the video. If you guys have any questions you want to toss in the chat, we'll get to those as the best we can. But for the first question, it's actually the question is, how long have you been reselling? You touched on that a bit. About 10 years.
Since 2008. About 2007. So 10 or 12 years. I have it on my Instagram. I update it every time. I think 11 years is according to my Instagram bio.
So what did you like when you started flipping stuff? Like what was the first thing that got you into it?
Believe it or not, this is like totally backwards. And people usually like work up to this, but it was motorcycles. Like I started with motorcycles, which kind of blows people's minds because they usually start with something like way less risky and way less intense with having to find it, fix it, sell it, or invest thousands of dollars depending. Initial investment, the barrier to entry on motorcycles is a lot higher.
Yeah, I've noticed you and Bonafide Hustler flip a lot of bikes, and those are good items to flip, I guess, because it's a relatively high market. But
it totally depends on, just like anything. There's quality tiers, there's brand tiers, and
there's such a wide value. Like you can have a $200 bike, or you can have a $5,000 bike. And
or like a really junky Toys R Us bike that's worth maybe like $40 Craigslist.
Yeah, but if you can pick those up for $1 or $5 at a yard sale, you can still flip them. So I want to get into bikes. I don't really know anything about them, but I'll be in touch with you if I ever buy them.
I'll try my best. Chris is way more bikey than I am. I've flipped bikes. I ride bikes, but he's flipped thousands of bikes. I've probably flipped less than 100 bikes. He's flipped thousands.
Wow. Got another super chat, one thread at a time, $2. Love these interviews. I learned a lot. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Eric, I'm gonna have to get a little skim, like 20 or 30% of these super chats coming in.
No, don't worry about it.
I didn't tell you about that, but I usually like to either send people that do the show something in the mail, or send them some money or something. But definitely something to make it worth your time. So
if we ever meet in real life, you could buy me like a burrito or a taco or something, and then you can call it square. You don't have to. Keep it. It's your platform, and it's
okay.
It's going to go to improving the studio quality, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to put this banner up. The whole goal of this show, other than getting to know Eric a little bit better, is to get him to 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, that's the banner.
What is your follower count right now?
Let me check. It's been creeping up slowly. We're at 9,831. So that's like 169 more followers.
169, yeah.
Till 10K. You get that K, and you get the
K. You got the swipe up feature. I think you're probably the person on Instagram who's most deserving of 10K that doesn't have it yet.
It just takes time. I've only been active on Instagram for a little over a year. I've had my handle like saved since I don't know, 2012, maybe 2013, maybe. I don't know. But I've had the handle, and it's just been in the background with like really old pictures. I never was active. I didn't understand what the little airplane was until last year. I didn't know any. So I had DMs that I've never looked at, but I've actually like figured out and really like the platform because it's easy to do stuff like in the moment. Like I'm at a pawn shop. I'm not going to pull out my Sony camera and make a YouTube video. They're not going to like that. But I can do stuff with the camera really quick and kind of make little funnies here and there.
Little funnies. I like that. I think the main reason people follow you on Instagram, at least for me personally, is you are my Patagonia go-to guy. I don't know how you know so much about Patagonia, but I've sent people to you. Anytime I see somebody asking a question about Patagonia, I send them to you, and you give them the exact right answer.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Send them my way. I'll take time out of the day to try to figure out the best available information to me. I have a stack of vintage Patagonia magazines, I think, behind the shelf here. And it's about that big. It's probably like 43 magazines from, I think the earliest I have might be a 1989 kids catalog, but it's a lot of late 90s, early 2000s stuff, which is kind of mostly what people find in thrift stores.
Yeah.
And then I use those in combination, the magazines, with what I've learned over the years and Google to try to figure out what people should be selling it for, what's it called, what's the market value. Because sometimes if you just have something and you list it as like Patagonia jacket, you're not necessarily going to get as much sales traffic or like keyword targeting if you put Patagonia better sweater full zip jacket, something like that, where somebody's looking for that exact item, might kick you up into a faster sale for a higher price.
Yeah, I had no idea that Patagonia's logo has changed so much over the years, like very minimally, but there's like a noticeable difference between like certain time periods of that logo, and which makes it a really easy way to learn what year it's from.
Yeah, the Fitzroy Mountain Range, they have a beautiful logo. They've kind of like paved a lot of styles with that logo because LL Bean like has something similar where it's like a mountainscape and it's LL Bean and it's like the same exact size and it goes right over the chest. So there's very similar like trends that come from, I think Patagonia had paved the way, and then other companies are like, hey, that really works. We're going to try something like that. Even like the Vineyard Vines logo, like they put it's about the exact same size. It's not the same design, but it's like the same size. It goes right on the chest. It's about the same rectangle. I saw you pulled a Vineyard Vines full zip. What am I trying to say? Full zip vest. It was a vest from the bins with your wife. So it was that full zip vest that you pulled on Veterans Day, and that's like exact style of a Patagonia better sweater vest. Like,
they even feel the same.
Yeah.
It's so if anybody in the chat, if you ever find a Patagonia piece and you think it might be vintage, before you list it as vintage, please contact me or CP College Picker Eric, and I won't help you. I'll just send you to him. But we'll we'll do our best to help you figure that out. But
yeah, and if you find something in a size medium that you just want to get rid of fast, I'll definitely buy it for myself.
what's it called? Your 401?
My 401 closet. I will definitely put it in there and just have it for reference for other people and to wear and enjoy. So yeah, I've bought pieces off of people. I've actually had people mail me pieces for no charge, just saying thanks. So
yeah. Tell us a little bit about that, the 401 closet idea you came up with.
The 401 closet. So it's just a spoof off of the retirement account everyone's probably heard of a 401k. And because these clothes that I'm buying are at such discounted prices, and usually these styles will retain or appreciate in value as like less and less vintage clothing exists. Like if somebody wants that specific piece, if it has some history to it or whatever, it'll kind of maintain its value or it'll go up a little bit. So I kind of pick and choose certain pieces to like hold on to for myself that I don't have any intention of reselling anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great idea because I mean, vintage clothing is definitely not going to go down in value anytime soon. So it's a way to like, stock up cool stuff for you to wear and almost treat it as an investment,
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a play off of the as an investment, but it's like a thread vestment of stuff that you can wear and enjoy. And I get to send pictures of it to people and be like, hey, you found one of these. This label is that. I know that's from like a 1992 polo because I have this jacket in my closet, blah, 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 blah. So I have it like on hand to like help somebody or to create content with it, which is really cool.
So a couple, I don't know how long ago, but you had recently made a website for Patagonia brands. It was just like a source for people to go to kind of not, because you spend a lot of time probably helping people individually. So you made a website.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I got the whole entire idea. It was like, well, rather than trying to answer every message, I could just send them directly to the site and they could plug it in to maybe like a search bar and then they could find it themselves and maybe free up a little bit of time because I have the magazines. I'm like flipping through the magazines. Well, there's a way to digitize the magazines. And the way Patagonia works is you would search by style code and you'll usually find the style code on their vintage pieces if it's not too destroyed. But yeah, it was I had bought the vintagepatagonia.com domain in February of this year, I think, and kind of had started that project. Didn't build it out a ton, which I'm glad I didn't. The more hours I would have put into it, the worse off I would be feeling right now.
So how long was it like up and running and successful before Patagonia stepped in? And
it was never up and running. It was just literally the domain with one resource of one magazine. And there is an IP lawyer in California that has a crawler. This is a theory that I have. He has a crawler that crawls the web based off of image searches and certain trademarks, and it just crawls and it finds things that don't add up, and then he'll go to that website and say, or to that owner of that trademark and say, hey, look what I found. Do you want me to squash this bug? And then kind of take care of it. So they kind of wanted that out of there. They don't want to talk about being able to help vintage like Patagonia people. They don't care about that. They just want to protect their trademark.
And it seems, I don't know, it seems like such a good resource for them, like it's not like you were trying to make money off of it. You were just trying to help people.
No, there was an intention to make money. It was there was no ads on the site or anything. It's like, how am I going to monetize it? People were asking me like, oh, or they were telling me you should do like every time somebody searches, make sure they cost like 15 cents or something. I was like, no, that's like defeats the whole purpose of it.
The purpose was just to save you time.
It was just to create something cool. Like, I don't know, contribute something that would outlive myself, that would hopefully be around like past that. There's a website called vintagetrek.com, and the guy who built it out, it has a beautiful archive of vintage Trek bicycles and old catalogs, and that's kind of like where I wanted to go with it, but no, it got squashed.
Yeah, it's frustrating because it definitely would have helped the community, and that idea could work with any brand.
Yeah, pretty much. There is a Filson, I think it's like filsonfan.com for some dude who like really likes CC Filson stuff, and I don't know how he exists. Lulu Fanatics is an amazing resource. I don't know if you're familiar with Lulu Fanatics, but that is a phenomenal resource for Lululemon stuff, and I have no clue who owns that. how they are not getting squashed by Lululemon, and just like hats off to them, because it is an amazing website. It has to be like, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars invested in that website design.
I feel like Patagonia should have just hired you. I'm like, keep doing this.
I'm on there. I'm on their like do not talk to list right now. I think. It's all good. Yeah, whatever. I'm just glad that they didn't come after like damages or anything. Like there were no damages, but it's just silly. They're going after somebody on Amazon now that has like a really small Amazon store, and they're selling Patagonia stuff, and they're claiming all these damages and trademark infringement crap. Like, I'm just glad they didn't do that.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're an expert on copyright infringement or anything, but I had an idea. It wasn't my idea. It was a guy named Parrot Head Picker with his eBay cover photos. He has like, he'll take his own photo and then he'll take like a cropped or like an image of the logo itself. Like if it's an Under Armour shirt, he'll take a picture of the Under Armour shirt and then put the Under Armour logo on the actual, like on top of it.
I've seen listings like that. Yeah.
I just shared it on my Instagram and I was like, oh, this is a cool idea. I did it with a Pendleton blanket. And I had all these people say, oh, that's copyright infringement. I'm like,
not if you're taking a picture of that label, like, and you're not pulling it off of somebody else. Like the whole premise, I did so much research. I'm not a lawyer, but I did so much research during this whole debacle that if you own the item and it's like in fair use, you're not trying to harm the brand, and it's just called fair use. And that, I think that would be fair use, because it's like you're taking a picture of the item right then and there.
And it just,
you're not like pulling it off of
it was
their
new
website or
tagged
anything.
Pendleton blanket, so it had the logo on it, and I just took a bigger logo and put it, the box of it on top.
Yeah, so I've seen listings like that, and I was like, oh, that takes a lot of time to crop something inside of another picture to like show the neck label or something.
I like it. I'm not a copyright lawyer, but I think it makes the photos look professional, and I'm gonna keep doing it on my high dollar items.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll make you stand out, and the people like the labels. People love the labels in their brands, so that's like the first thing that's going to catch somebody's eye on a listing.
Yeah. Okay, let me check the chat here to see if we have any questions. we've been just kind of going full speed.
Hey, Tanya's I didn't even see Tanya's in the comments. What's up, Tanya?
What up, Tanya? There's a lot of people. We got 95 people watching. I know the time is kind of weird. Like I normally do the reseller show on Thursdays, and 6 my time, and works pretty well. Eric, it's like what, 4 your time? So you're in Texas?
Yeah, it's 5:25 right now.
5:25. Okay. So thanks for showing up, everybody. We really appreciate it. Editing listings. Somebody said, My Life said, what kind of vintage clothing items are you looking for in size medium? Do you only collect Patagonia stuff, or do you?
Patagonia stuff, cool vintage T-shirts. Just send me pictures. I'm not gonna say I'm only limited to this, and this. Polo. I just bought a polo jacket from a dude. That's actually my most recent video on my channel. I posted it yesterday, unboxing this really cool polo jacket this dude sent me. Really cool piece. Really awesome.
Awesome. Let's see. Just looking for some questions here.
I would say it has to be unique enough to where it's like I gotta have that, and the prices have to be right as well, because we're all cheap over here. So it's like the price has to be right, and then the subject matter, the content or whatever has to be fitting.
Kent Daigle has a question for you. He said, would you take the bicycle trip again?
Which bicycle trip?
Honestly, I don't know. I think you do a lot of bicycle trips.
Yeah, maybe the UK one. If he's talking about the UK one, of course, yeah. I would never not go on. I would never regret any of the bicycle trips I've been on. Oh, the France. Yeah, I would have stayed in France longer. I probably wouldn't have crossed over into the UK because it started getting like cold and rainy. But France was actually really good.
Awesome. All right. Old Profit Monsters says, Eric, do you ride unicycles?
I don't, but I did see a unicycle at a pawn shop about 3 days ago. It was a 36, I think. 36 inch, and they were asking 180. I think it was called a Coker. I always looked it up and saw that they're not made anymore. And if the price can drop down to maybe under $100, I'd probably be into it and be able to use it and then flip it for maybe 3 to 4. It's not a very common item. I think there was one on eBay over $500, and
Wow.
one comp for like 3 something. But yeah, it just depends. The price has to be right.
I actually saw one at the Benz today. It was I don't know, they had a sticker on it that said like Invicta or something like that, but I didn't know if it was the actual brand or somebody put a sticker on it. And it was really rusted, and the tire was dry rotted, and the seat was like coming apart. So I passed on it. They probably would ask like $5 for it. But I have a unicycle now that's unbranded, and it's just been sitting in my backyard for like a year.
Are you going to try? Or are you going to?
I tried. I have a video where I tried to learn, and it's tough. Like, it's way harder.
Keep going. Probably a week dedicated, and I bet you could do it.
Maybe. So you do a lot of sourcing at pawn shops. That's probably my favorite thing about your Instagram stories is like the cool stuff you get at pawn shops. What are your tips for like negotiating there? Because I don't do a lot of sourcing there because it's almost intimidating, you know. But I know
it is intimidating.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
The big burly guy comes out, was like, "Oh no, man, I gotta have 200 for that." I'm like,
yeah, and like 250 guns behind the counter.
Yeah. So, what are some tips you'd give people that want to source at pawn shops?
Just know that they're flexible. The people there, they are there to sell items just as well as buy items. So, even though they have a price that's listed, a lot of times if it's a corporate pawn shop, it'll get marked down depending on how long it's been there. You can really, if you become friends with one of the managers can always hook you up with better prices by using their managerial powers. And just always ask, like, what's the best price you could do? Have your price in mind. I go frequently, so I do develop relationships with the people that are there, and they kind of recognize me when I go in. But don't be intimidated. That's probably the number one tip, because I do remember going back when I was in undergrad, and I was like, man, this is a whole different world. It's a whole different flipping kind of experience. It's overwhelming. Like the first time you go into a thrift store, you're looking around, you're like, this is insane. Well, the same thing with the pawn shop. It's a bunch of tools and guns and bikes. And
yeah. I think my problem was I didn't realize that there was still money to be made. Like I thought, you know, they bought the stuff from desperate people and they were asking like fair market value for everything, but they don't. The guys that own pawn shops, I mean, they have so much money tied up in jewelry and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's their big money makers is jewelry. They don't really budge as much. I don't do the jewelry thing, so maybe they do budge. I just don't know it yet. But every time I talk to a manager, he's like, yeah, this is our money maker over here, is like that case, and like it's always the jewelry stuff. But yeah, stuff falls through the cracks everywhere. Like the pawn shop Brompton bike, I bought that for $170 about 2 months ago, something like that. I posted on Instagram, and then I sold it about a month later for $1,325 or $1,350, and it was just they thought they overpaid for it, and they paid $200, and they gave it to me for $170, so they lost $30 on it, and I made like $1,000 on it.
That's crazy. So I guess we'll go ahead and talk about this. A couple people are wanting to know about your Levi's jacket. So I always ask people what their best flip was, and of course this was yours. So tell us where you found it and the whole process of getting it sold.
The Levi's jacket headache. Yeah, that was definitely my best flip. ROI wise, yes, and I think sale wise also, like highest sale price, because I don't believe I ever sold a motorcycle for over $5,000. No, only like 4,000 something, I think, was the highest I'd ever sell it for. And I haven't flipped any cars and houses yet. So yeah, best flip. Found it in northern Arizona, and it was at a yard sale. It was at a yard sale run by fundamentalist Mormons. So they're like dressed in these pastel colored dresses. The ones that you see with like multiple wives and whatnot. So it was kind of like a weird yard sale there. But I went there and I saw some stuff. I got a couple pairs of Allen Edmonds. I got a pair of Ferragamos, maybe 2. For some reason, they had those all there. And then, yeah, the jacket, I didn't realize how much it was really worth. I knew it was going to be like maybe $500 to $1,000. But the more I looked it up and saw how uncommon it is in that condition, because the thing was just pristine, I found a couple actives, and then a couple active on some Japanese websites on like Rakuten, and then no real completeds, but listed it high. Actually, I listed it for like 3,500, and then got a couple messages, and then I jacked the price up to like 6,500, and sat on it for 4 months, maybe. Got a couple messages from people saying they would do, I think it was like 2,000 or 3,000. They said they would buy it from me, and I knew that they were just flippers trying to get it and then sell it maybe for like $1,000 profit. And then some guy messaged me in all Japanese. I had to Google translate it, and he said his funds were transferring. I sold it on Etsy, so his funds were like transferring to Etsy, and we would message back and forth, this and that, measurements, and yeah, he ended up about a week later purchasing it, which was kind of surreal. And then I had to figure out, how the heck am I going to not get scammed or screwed on this sale? Yeah, Big E, capital E gang.
Big E.
Ken Daigle says. Yeah, it was a Big E. It was like a 1952 blanket lined type 2 jacket.
So you sold it on Etsy. What made you list it? What made you think about listing a jean jacket on Etsy rather than just eBay or something?
Etsy is where I like to put my vintage clothing. So I figured, what better thing to put up there than like a Holy Grail denim find. So there was already some on eBay too. So it was maybe like they would compare the prices a little bit more closely on eBay if I was up there. It's just there was zero competition on Etsy, and kind of just wanted to see if that could put the platform on the map for some people.
That's interesting. I've never thought about putting.
The fees are better on Etsy too. I think there's like a 5% fee instead.
Oh wow. Bolo Buddies is asking how we can see a picture of the jacket.
Sure. It's actually on Instagram. It's on my top 10, I think, for sure. If you scroll through my top 10 pictures, yeah, it's number 9. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There's homie wearing it. I asked him, when you get this jacket, dude, you have to send me a picture of you wearing it. And he sent me a picture of him wearing it.
It's crazy.
He's got a Goro necklace on. He's got the Levi's jacket.
I wonder what he does for a living to be able to.
Yeah, I'm so curious. I have his email and his phone number. He said if I ever go back to Japan to hit him up and we'll go drink some sake or something.
That's awesome. So I know you had a lot of shipping issues with that. I don't know if it was Etsy's fault or what, but what did you learn in the process of shipping this $5,000 jacket to the opposite side of the world? So
anytime you sell or anytime you export something out of the United States over $2,500, that's the threshold. You have to use what's called the automated export system, the AES, and it's like a government customs portal you have to make an account for. You have to go in there. You have to do a harmonization code, like telling them exactly what it is, what it's worth, what date it's going to be shipped, what port it's going to be leaving from, what way how you're going to ship it. Like they want to know like every single thing about this, because I think it's like anti-trafficking of bad stuff, and then also tracking revenue. And then you have to submit all that, get this thing that's called an ITN, which is an internal transaction number, and then you got to put that on the outside of your package. And then when they get it at the customs, they're like, okay, this guy did the paperwork correctly, it can get out of customs. Well, I didn't know any of that when I did it, so it took like 3 times of trial and error pretty much, because there isn't that much information online, especially when you don't know what to Google to figure it out. And every person I ever asked like had no clue how to do any of it. Even when I reached out to Etsy, I was like, is there any more steps I have to take in order to like ship this, protect it? They didn't say anything, but I ended up shipping it USPS, expedited international, whatever. It ended up being over $100, I think $140 to ship, and a big headache. But if I were to do it all over again, just go through FedEx and ask them to help you with it, and they will gladly do it. They'll help you do the export. They'll be the broker and help you with the exporting numbers and get all that good stuff good to go, and probably get it there faster. And I also learned that USPS, they put their packages in certain bins depending on a certain amount of tape on it or what package it's in. Like they have those Federal Express envelopes or packaging, or they'll put like priority tape on it, and then they'll sort it a certain way. So like the color of the box depends on like where it goes. And I never had the person at the clerk at the window tape like International Express on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we went into like the not International Express thing, and was, instead of getting there in 3 days, it would ended up getting to customs in like 7 days.
Wow. Huh. Well, if I ever make a multi-$1,000 jacket sale going to Japan, I'm just gonna. Don't you have like your Instagram story like saved on your page of like the breakdown from that?
Of like the headache.
Yeah.
I actually made there's 3 YouTube videos I have on my channel about this jacket. One when I found it, and I kind of just talk about what happened when I found it. What I think it's going to sell for, which I was actually like way undershot it, because I think I said it's like a $2,000 jacket and ended up being like over double that.
Mm-hmm.
And a video where I actually packed it up and took it to the post office for the 3rd time. And then there's a video where I broke down the actual costs of purchase price, fees, shipping, insurance. And then the dude got it. And then he messaged me, "Hey, I have to pay import tax on this." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, I just want to get this over with. I'll split import tax with you. It's like $300 and be done with this."
Yeah. Bolo Buddies just said, just found you on Instagram and followed. Everybody should do this. I have to go let my dog out because he's throwing a tantrum.
Oh, she did. I saw it. It jumped up.
So what's your follower count at now?
I got to 42. 10 more people came over.
Awesome. So
Bolo Buddies Reseller right there.
Bolo Buddies. She's got a great channel too. You guys should subscribe to her channel. But the focus of this live stream is to try to get College Picker to 10,000 followers on Instagram. It's going to be tough. There's 114 people watching now.
Oh, if they get it, I will give away this Starbucks mug that we found yesterday.
Oh, and that's how much is that worth?
It's not worth a whole ton. It's more of like the like I found a Starbucks mug. I have a Starbucks mug in my closet kind of thing. It's about $25 market value. I think the comps are between 25 to 30 if you put it as a buy it now. But yeah, it's clean. They're pretty hard to find. Like I had before I came to Texas, I had only found one ever in like 10 years. And then I came to Texas and I find them like every other week now.
That's awesome. A lot of Josh just dropped the Instagram link. So if you guys have an Instagram, go follow him. Well, if we can get him to 10,000 subs during this live video in the next 30 minutes, I'll also do a giveaway. I don't know what, but I'm gonna give away something. Right now, I'm gonna go let my dog out. I'll be right back. CP, talk about your favorite place, of course, outside of pawn shops.
We'll go to the chat. We got Kent Daigle says his IG stories are gold, capital GOLD. Appreciate that, man. That's like a shout when you use all caps. Yeah. Tanya says Texans love Starbucks, and they also have a lot of oil money. And then they go and travel and then buy these Starbucks mugs and bring them back. And then they're like, "Why do I have all these Starbucks mugs?" So they donate them to Goodwill. And I've been going up and scooping them. I think I found like 4 or 5 in the last 2 weeks. Crazy.
Yeah, I've never found one of those. I had a buddy I follow on Instagram. He posted a picture one time where he found 3 at one yard sale.
Yeah, they usually come in pairs because somebody's like getting rid of their entire cupboard. They're getting rid of like all of them, whatever, and they stick out like a sore thumb. Like they're colored on the inside. All of this this series, I think it's called the You Were Here series, 2011.
Yeah.
They all have like that giant spell out of the city, and it's got the same kind of colorways. It'll be brown or blue or green on the inside, whatever color, and they're bigger. These are 16-ounce mugs, so they stick out. Like you literally just have to like scan the mug section for like 30 seconds, and if you don't see it, it's probably not there.
Raleigh Allen says, "Need to find the mortgage mug next." I did see one of that series, and it was from some island, like South Island or something. There's like a very remote island.
Yeah, they're super obscure ones that can go for like crazy money to the Starbucks collecting people. Yeah, the mortgage mugs are ones that sell for like over $1,000. They're not common, but they are out there, and I've never found one. So
I don't understand why people pay so much for stuff like that, like a coffee mug. But
once
I'm
you have
glad.
that much expendable income, you need something to do, I guess. They're
I
like,
guess, yeah. Everybody's saying they are subscribing to your channel and following on Instagram. So I
yeah,
don't know. It's gonna be close.
I'm like way more active on Instagram than I am on YouTube over the last year. So that's where it's all happening, is on Instagram.
It's just easier. But yeah, somebody said that they enjoy your stories. And I do too. I just like everybody's Instagram stories more than posts. I don't know why. I feel like it's quicker and easier to do. So it's less attention to detail. It's just like real and raw. And I learn something all the time. So
yeah.
I think I saw a question a minute ago. Oh, Kent Daigle says, ask him what thermal printer to use. If anybody's following him on Instagram, you know the answer to this question.
Yeah, that it's like my yeah, the printers are my thing. Also, I'm pretty techie. I've always got along really well with tech. I don't know why I never studied like IT work or engineering or something. I kind of wish I could have gone a different path rather than like medical field. It just interests me more. It's more fun to get hands on with this stuff. But so depending on your needs of your thermal printer and your budget is like based off the recommendation, but I would say to get a Zebra LP2844 and do not go and buy a Dymo.
You know, I have the Dymo 4XL, and to be honest, it was hard to set up. Like at first, it took me like 2 hours to get it set up, but I haven't had any issues now that it's set up.
You are one of the few.
Yeah, I know. I hear so much crap about it.
Do you use the third-party labels, or do you use the Dymo labels? You do third-party labels too?
I had a label before, and I had to go to Staples and buy the Dymo, and it was $44 for one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They get you there.
It's crazy.
But do you understand the whole proprietary label argument where they put those little punches on it so that you can only buy Dymo style labels?
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do, is sell you the labels. But when you go with somebody like Zebra, you could shove anything in there. Well, any thermal paper in there and it'll work. Like, they don't care where you get. They're not there to try to they're trying to make good printers. They're not trying to sell you labels. Just like when you compare prices and then like quality, and if you touch another one, you'll be like, man, this feels like cheap compared to this one. You really see that Dymo is they're definitely the inferior. They work, and if you have one, you already have one. It's like, why, until it breaks, or if you get a label jammed in there and there's a sensor, and if that sensor like starts acting up, then it becomes frustrating as heck. But if it always goes smoothly, just don't fix it unless it's broke.
I've found a couple of times I've had a problem with mine has been when I'm changing the labels, and like on the Dymo 4XL, it's got the little black thing that you slide on.
Yeah, that's
slides on either way, but it only works one way. And
really? I must have put it on like the correct way every time on accident.
Yeah,
I don't use it as my primary printer. I have it for like more to do reviews on it and whatnot, and to help people with when they're having an issue, to like show them how to do it.
Yeah,
but
the biggest issue I've heard of people is it printing out like multiple labels. Like you print one label and it'll print 2.5, and generally that means you need to take that black thing off and flip it around,
shove it, make it tighter, or move the labels all the way to the left so that little punch is on the sensor, or your sensor is kind of dirty or whatever. But the whole point that they made a sensor in the first place is like complete bull crap, because there's other printers that have a way better design. So I don't know. You get me started on printers.
I think when I hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away my Dymo 4XL and then get that brother one that you're talking about. Because
if you want wireless stuff, then you have to, because that's like the only semi-affordable like wireless thermal printer. Zebra makes one, but it's like in the $400 or $500 price range. But yeah, Dymo, they came out in like 2004, and their prices are like all over the place. Like one day it's $160, another day it's $270. You go to Office Depot, it's like $399.
Yeah,
they can't figure out what their prices
are. Florida Flipper says, CP, do you sell on Poshmark?
We do. My wife started Poshmark earlier this year. We sold a pair of Lululemon leggings today for $50.
Awesome. How much did you pay for them?
I think we paid $10.
That's pretty good.
Paid up at Savers.
Oh, did you? Somebody asked earlier what you paid for the Levi's jacket.
$1.50.
$1.50.
Paid $1.50.
$1.50 into $5,000. before
5,722 is what it sold for.
5722. That's insane. Do you feel? Let's say you go back in time, you go back to that yard sale, knowing what you know now. Do you feel bad about paying him only $1.50?
Like, not really, because I solved their problem of taking something that they wanted out of the house.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm with you. I'm wondering how they got all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Levi's is workwear, and they started in California. So Arizona, being one state over, could get like the old historic, like California old Levi's stuff before it made its way east. Like, it kind of progressed farther and farther east, so they can get that older stuff. And it's a ranchy working state, so somebody had it and maybe, I don't know, didn't work.
Like, didn't work. Yeah, it's in great condition.
Or maybe it was their backup jacket and their first one lasted so long that they didn't have to get it, put it on. Because usually they're destroyed because it's workwear.
Yeah, yeah. And even if you come across vintage Levi's or anything and they are destroyed, still pick them up, because
if it's Biggie denim, like, yeah, absolutely.
It can be in tattered shreds.
Even if you don't know if it's real or not, if it's cheap, like, buy it.
Yeah,
there's a chance it's worth a lot of money.
Kevin Elliott says, "Wait, what? 5,700 for a Levi?" Yeah, you go back and watch what we were just talking about in the beginning of the show. But essentially, he paid $1.50 for a Levi's denim jacket and sold it for over $5,700. I'm gonna make sure there's no more questions in the chat here. David in the car boot picker is leaving. David, where are you going, man? All right, let me go back to my question list. So what was your favorite place to source outside of pawn shops? Do you go to Goodwill, or do you have like mom and pop stores that you tend to do better at?
In my current state of living here, I go to Goodwill just because it's convenient. It's on a loop that's like 2 minutes away from me. It's like house, shipping station, and then the Goodwill is like right there, all in one line. So I would say, yeah, the Goodwill now. But because yard sales here are not that good, so. But traditionally, I would just like to go yard sailing. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, yard sales. I saw a couple months ago, Bonafide Hustler posted it was like he does Instagram stories a lot now, and he went to one sale and got like 6 guitars and like the deer head, all for $50. Like,
I've gone with him in Austin. Austin's incredible for yard sales.
It's where do you stay in Texas?
I'm in Midland, so it's a smaller oil and gas town between El Paso and Dallas.
Okay.
And it's not nearly as good as Austin.
Yeah. I mean, Austin just seems crazy with the yard sales, but especially with Goodwill. My Goodwills here in South Carolina are still relatively cheap. I bought a Magnavox combo unit today for $5. There was no price on it, and took it to the register, and they said $5.92. I'm like, all right, sweet. I'm sending an FBA, $120 guaranteed. But I've seen some people post on Instagram about their Goodwills charging, $50 for a Ralph Lauren polo shirt, and so I'm lucky that I don't have to deal with that, but it's frustrating for other
Hopefully
people.
They're not charging more than TJ Maxx would be charging. Then we're going to have to leave them a 1-star on Google if they're doing that.
Yeah. Pick and Roll says, don't they now make Big E that is recent modern?
Yes, they make what's called LVC, Levi's Vintage Collection, and that's when they retro out the old stuff. Sometimes I think they even advertise it stitch for stitch reproductions, and that's for people that want to wear it but can't necessarily afford the authentic old stuff. But they still have those prints, that style. They own all the trademarks and designs. Why not?
Yeah. And those are still worth money.
If you pick up an LVC, it's going to be quality, and then you're probably going to sell it for, it depends on the piece, of course, but yeah, it's going to be like $100 to $300 because they retailed for like $2 to $3 for just like a jacket.
Those are the type of things they would sell at like the Levi store in New York City. Like
they'll drop at all the flagship stores.
Yeah,
they just released vintage collab with Star Wars, I think, where if you like roll up the pant leg on it, it says like the Force be with you on the selvage denim or something. Like,
I tried to get in on that drop. Like, I had my alarm set for that morning, but everything I wanted was sold out already. Kevin Elliott says, Harry, the Goodwill in Sunset, West Columbia is usually a great spot. That is where I go every single day. So if you want to see me, you should go there. That's the Ben's location.
If you want to get spun around in a tornado.
Yeah. I love the Ben's, man. Do you guys have one in Texas?
There's not one in my region near me. But yeah, there's one in Austin. There's one probably in Dallas. I'm sure there's probably one in El Paso, but yeah, I don't think I've actually ever been to one in Texas, but they have them here.
I met up with a subscriber yesterday and took him to the Ben's, and he was like, "This isn't like the other Ben's I've seen." I'm like, "Yeah, it's like not dirty, it's not crowded." Really,
they let you film. I think that's incredible that they let you film because
I threw my GoPro like on my backpack strap. So they see it. I see people staring at it all the time, but nobody's ever told me to stop. So
there's like no filming signs in some I've been to and seen.
I think that like the Ben's in bigger cities, like you're going to get more stock rotation and you're going to have just a wider selection, but you're going to have to deal with the crowds and with the gross stuff. But I just think I'm really lucky in my area to be like the perfect population size for a really nice Goodwill Ben's.
Yeah. And a lot of the times like the bins are where the vintage like thrashed t-shirts end up because the Goodwills are like, this is too ugly to put on the floor, so we're going to throw it to the bins. And that's the stuff that you want. So it just ends up going straight to the bins.
Mary Deathy Deal says, are you close to Grimes Fine's auction house?
I'm not familiar with that, so I don't know.
I didn't know. Grimes Fine's apparently they've got like 120,000 subscribers or so. He does like storage auctions. But I had never seen any of his videos until like this week. So
Grimes Fine's auction house. Depends on if he's in Dallas. I mean, I'm 4.5 hours from Dallas. But I haven't really interacted much with the auction people on YouTube or Instagram. It's kind of like
different world.
It's like a sub niche of a niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dark. It's that it's daylight savings, and I'm like next to a window. So sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'll try to get closer.
Right. Get back to my question.
Sun just went down.
So you've been on YouTube for a long time. You and Rake, I think, do you and Rake and Profit do the green room with Chris Bonafide Hustler, or was Rake and Profit not in it? Okay.
Yep. Steve actually started doing YouTube after Chris and I. He was watching Chris's videos and then some of my videos, and then he started doing videos. All around 2012, I want to say. Maybe.
Which is forever in YouTube years.
Yeah, right?
So with being on YouTube, since 2011, 2012, probably before any other resellers, other than Bonafide.
There was a handful of guys. Like there was enough to count on your hands.
Yeah.
So Redneck Picker is probably somebody that no one's ever heard of unless you were around watching videos in 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So based on like how YouTube was then and how it is now, would you say it's better or worse? And is it easier or harder to grow and build an audience now?
I always think it's getting harder. This is all completely opinion, so there's no facts behind this.
Yeah.
So it's always just going to get harder because there's technically more competition. You're just going to be pushed more down in search based off of like 10 people in that niche versus 100 people in that niche versus 1,000 people making content in that niche. It's not like, I don't know, like we're in competition, but we're not in competition. Like there's a way to collaborate and to not be in vicious competition, but there is like an underlying algorithmic competition that is unsaid, because if there's so many videos trying to target this keyword, it's not going to necessarily pop up. Yours isn't going to pop up as much because there's so much competition. Then it just becomes who makes the best content, which is good, because then it's like that's the best for the viewer, who makes the best content. It's like YouTube capitalism.
Exactly. And I've always talked about how there's so many reseller channels on YouTube, but I encourage you, if you're a reseller, you should start a channel.
Yeah. If you don't start today, it's just going to get harder and harder the like longer you wait, because it's just more and more people are, if that's what you want to do. Not everyone wants to get in front of a camera and talk, or they're not excited to share their finds. But back in 2012, like nobody I didn't know anyone that did this, so it's like I can't connect with anybody. But when you actually have this foundational connection, it's really cool to be able to get on, talk to a live hangout. You're in with the chat. People in the chat like understand the same kind of mindset. You can talk about vintage stuff. You can talk about flipping on eBay. You can talk about new terms of service or the new shipping metrics that eBay does. And it's like people just get it. It's different. You have to kind of seek out that people that understand that niche because you don't have it necessarily close to you like your friends and family. So
yeah. I'll let you go to the chat for a second. I gotta let my dog back in. He's so
Sure.
new. I'm so sorry.
Brandy Hunter says, why does everyone need a channel? Everyone doesn't need a channel. Not absolutely not. Some people enjoy watching videos. Some people enjoy posting videos. It's not, everyone does not need a channel. But yeah, like Bolo Buddy says, you meet a lot of people from your channel. So if you have a channel, you can connect with people a different way. In real life, like a lot of my really IRL, my in real life friends I met through YouTube. Like I just hung out with Chris in Arkansas, Chris the Bonafide Hustler in Arkansas for a week mountain biking, and we met through YouTube in like 2013, I think. Yeah, so it.
Brandy, I heard you answer her question when I was leaving, but I think she was talking about when I said I think everybody should have one. Not,
I mean, to each their own. Yeah.
Anything, but just to one document, even if you don't, you're putting videos up that get 10 to 20 views. It's still cool to go back and see videos you did a year or 2 years ago, or 8 years ago in your case.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it for the whole movies aspect where you can go back and be like, oh my gosh, my hair looked like that.
Yeah.
I was stuttering like that. I used like, oh my, yeah, it's terrible to like go back and look at that. It's so cringy, but yeah, it's cool to go back. But not everybody wants that. But and then to each their own on that. It's cool. It's cool for us to be able to go back in time and see it like a time capsule. Exactly, Bolo Buddy says like a time capsule.
Mary Deathy Deal's Instagram name, it is in the description, but it's the College Picker, at the College Picker. What is your Instagram count right now?
My phone is my light, so bear with me.
Okay. Ooh, it's so spooky.
Yeah. We're at
I guess
862. It's all good. I mean, it's all good.
It was going to be a tough ask to get to 10K tonight.
Not everyone uses Instagram too. It's like,
yeah, that's true. And a lot of people were probably already following you, at least I was. But I think a lot of Josh said he was going to make 10 fake accounts. I can make 10 fake
no, don't make 10 fake accounts. That's way too much work. And I don't even think Instagram likes that.
No.
So the Clemson shirt that you found, that like spell out Clemson across the chest, have you sold that yet, or is it up listed?
Spell out Clemson shirt.
It was a Clemson vintage. Was it a long sleeve, or I don't know? You tagged me on Instagram with. Let me see.
Oh, the t-shirt. Yeah. I sold that on Instagram that day.
You did sell it on Instagram. Wow.
I actually sold it to my ex-girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, she paid $65. I paid $1.50 for it and sold it for $65.
Really? That's awesome. Yeah, I guessed like 75, and you sold it for 65 outside of eBay. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's the only thing I've ever sold through Instagram. And I was happy to move it that quickly. For those of you that don't know, it was just a vintage like Clemson fan t-shirt. It was black, but it had a really huge like Clemson, like started it on the end of the sleeve and the end went all the way to the other sleeve. Had a big tiger, vintage single stitch made in the USA. Really, really bright. It was just the best vintage shirt I've ever found.
Yeah, this thing was awesome. Let me pull up a big picture of it as I'm blinding myself. There it is.
Yeah, there we go.
The thing was so cool.
Yeah, definitely. Almost held on to it. My wife went to Clemson, and I went to Carolina, but I didn't graduate. And so we are just, by default, we're both Clemson fans. Almost kept it. It fit me, but it's all about the profit, Some things are, that's a good question. How do you, like, if you came across some rare Patagonia jacket that was worth like $600 or something, how would you decide whether to keep it in your 401
closet
or to sell it?
Do I need the money?
That's true.
Do I have the space, and do I need the money?
Have you ever gone back into your 401 closet to sell something?
The 401 closet it's kind of a newer term, so I just like kind of have been doing that over the last 4 months, and the actual pieces that I consider like holding pieces that I'm going to have, I'll probably have them for like 5 to 10 years until either I get bigger than the size that fits or I need the money.
That makes sense.
They're not going down in value. Like they're not when you figure out what styles are kind of classic, what's not going to depreciate, you can pick certain things. I don't know if this is like out there, but certain pieces of clothing like retain their value, and it's very, very small percentage. Like certain colors, certain styles, certain brands will retain their value, and if you get them at certain price points, they will either retain their value or appreciate in value against inflation, because the Filson shirt isn't subject to inflation. Like it's just in my closet.
Nifty Thrifty Fawn says, I'm thinking about selling some stuff on Instagram. Thoughts? I've only sold that one t-shirt on Instagram. Do you do a lot of sales?
Like, yeah, I do. I actually sell anywhere from cheap hats from $5 to $10 plus shipping. Actually, I've sold stuff probably for like $1 or $2 plus shipping, because I do what's called cop at cost, where it's like I go into the thrift store, if I find something that either I feel like, okay, I want to give this out to a follower today, or give an opportunity to somebody to get it basically at the price that I paid, I'll offer, hey, this is shirt, I found it, it was $1, you can have it plus shipping, it's like $4, whatever. It's a way to give back. I try to do that at least like once a week. Sometimes I don't find items that are good enough for it, to where my followers would probably want that item, because usually it's people that would want to keep it. It's not at a necessarily resale price. Sometimes they are, but it's more of like, I want to keep this item and enjoy it myself kind of price. So I've sold anywhere between $3 to $5, up to the Rally Roots bought a laptop from me for $1,400. So anywhere between that, they still hold the biggest Instagram sale is $1,400.
I know some people are kind of wary about like taxes, but no matter where you sell an item, you owe the same amount of taxes on it. Instagram doesn't have any
fees. No fees.
Yeah. So there's nothing bad about selling through Instagram. It's not illegal. You just still owe, taxes on your profit.
Was there a question about that, or was someone else?
Was
she worried about the tax implications? So you would just have to keep track of cost of goods and sell prices, which you're getting a payment. People aren't Instagramming you cash. They're Instagramming you a trackable payment. So you would just go back every month or 3 months, quarterly, half yearly, whenever you want to do the accounting, and you go through, find the transactions, and just match it up to whatever item it was. And you can totally track it so easy, especially with Instagram archives and everything.
Awesome. So Nifty Thrifty Funds, hope that helped you out a little bit.
Blair Witch. It is so Blair Witch. I do have lights, but it's just going to be top-down lights, and it's just going to create like way more shadows and everything. Yeah. And it just got dark here. That's why
I like it.
I can turn the lights on, so it's not as creepy Blair Witchy.
Felix Briand, that's a new name. Thank you so much for showing up to the show, and thank you for that $1.99 super chat. I really appreciate that. Florida Flipper, gotta fly a piece, guys. Peace, Florida Flipper. Don't sweat it.
We just got hit at sunset, so.
Guys, we are at 58 minutes so far, so we're going to be winding down. If you have any final questions you want to throw at me or CP or both of us, whatever, so go ahead and drop those in the chat. We can try to get to those before we get off here. I don't want to keep them too long. Bolo Buddy said, just shared it in my Facebook group, Harry Tornado. I tagged you. Hopefully it helps get him to 10,000.
Oh, man.
I know he'll get there.
I'm going to have to stick around for like 10 minutes to see if it happens, because then we can give away this mug.
Yeah.
Facebook group. How big is the Facebook group? Because that's going to go insane.
I'm not sure how big her group is. It's pretty. Her channel's really cool. Like
either or. Tighten it. If you're tight knit, and then your people will listen to you. And if it's huge, then so many people will see it. So whatever. Either way, it's good.
Yeah.
Just appreciate it.
Let's see.
I couldn't pay the electric bill. No, I just had the lights off because we were using our natural light before sunset.
Doris Garner says, it's just so hard to keep up with what you paid when it comes to a yard sale and you hold it for a while. How do you do it? I just have a notebook that I write my stuff in. I know Bonafide Hustler, I've seen eMoney
they do receipts. They go like way overboard with the receipts.
How do you handle it?
you can pull out a certain amount of cash and just kind of keep track of that's like your yard sale expenditure
That's
cash and keep track of it that way. And when you're getting yard sale prices, you're paying almost entirely on profit because it's like you got it for a quarter, you got it for 10 cents or whatever, $1.
Yeah, I bought a Vitamix blender for $8 at a yard sale.
Oh my gosh!
Last week for 200.
So. Oh my gosh! What model was it? Do you remember?
It's 5200 or 50.
Oh, I still have never found a Vitamix like full. I've actually found a base now that I've been in Texas world, but I still have never found like a full Vitamix. So Orlando from Pure Hustle podcast like mailed me one. He's like, dude, I found like 10 of them. Here, you can have this broken one because I know you're gonna fix it. And I fixed it, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's another thing we talk about. You're fixing. I've always on your Instagram stories is another reason I follow you is because like your Prius. Don't you have a Prius? And
we got three. We got 3 Priuses now, actually.
Oh wow, you guys are.
Yeah, we're Prius people.
So I saw your like battery went dead or something went dead.
Yeah,
you, like, put a new battery in it, and
we checked. I tried to rebuild the battery, and then I ended up forgetting that I needed to flip a switch back, like a safety switch, and then it kept throwing the code because I didn't flip that switch, and then I went and bought a new battery and then chucked it in. But I think my rebuilt battery would have worked. But anyways, I'm always tinkering with stuff like reduce, reuse, recycle. If you can fix it yourself, you're either going to save yourself money, save somebody else money, or save the earth some carbon.
There you go. I've seen one of your videos where you shipped a skim board. Was that the toughest thing you've ever shipped? And if not, what is the toughest thing you've ever
shipped? Post office, I would say yes, that probably was. Bicycles aren't that difficult because you can get like a bicycle box, but that skim board is just such a weird shape. Yeah, I never thought of that. That probably is like the weirdest, hardest thing I've shipped USPS because it was kind of like I had to pad it and everything. And I've shipped a motorcycle, but that was freight, so it was easy. Didn't take any labor. It was just like the guy showed up and took it. But yeah, like skimboard would probably be the weirdest one. And it got there positive feedback. I think it sold for like $150 or something. It's crazy.
That's another thing that you can have really, really cheap skim boards that are worth nothing. You can have really nice ones. So
there's a whole spectrum. You can get one from Walgreens near the beach, or you can get like a nice one online or off of Craigslist.
The last question I have for you tonight is, where do you see the reselling industry in 10 years, and how do you see yourself being a part of it?
I'm always going to be a part of resell. It's been ingrained in my hyper frugality and my early retirement or whatever goals, because it's just like ways to cut costs in anybody's life. So yeah, 10 years from now, I'm still going to be going to Goodwill. I'm still going to be reselling. It's too much of a life hack to ever give up. It becomes ingrained in you. It's a part of the lifestyle. And I think more people will get into it because I think we're shifting more towards a accepted used culture, more so than everything brand new. We're all becoming a little bit more earth conscious, carbon conscious, renewable energies, and essentially secondhand goods are like renewable products because they're going from one person to another person to another person, rather than having to go out and buy a brand new polo shirt, brand new polo shirt, brand new polo shirt. It's like you got one that already got manufactured, that already got shipped. It's already here. So I think everyone's getting a little bit more earth conscious, and more platforms are popping up that are specific to a certain niche, like StockX for sneakers and streetwear, and Poshmark is girly clothes and even men's clothing now. Like we've sold men's stuff pretty good on Poshmark. I think they're growing with market share. eBay is probably going to have to do some adaptation and changing. And Etsy does really well with vintage and handmade goods. They're kind of niching out. Like everyone's carving out their little niche.
That's I mean, I agree with you. I watched this documentary on Netflix about like the world water crisis. It was talking about like just to make one cotton T-shirt takes like 4,000 gallons.
Yeah, it's insane, and it's like, vintage T-shirts just feel better.
Yeah,
it's like they just feel like I think I'm wearing one right now. Like just because this thing's from like the 70s, just like feels better. It cost me $1.
Yeah. Well, guys,
Right
like I
there.
said, that was the last question I have. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. So Eric, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone that left a super chat. That's definitely appreciated as well. And I'm just excited to get back into these reseller reviews. I like, how it's unscripted and
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And you haven't done a live show like this in a
No,
while.
I haven't done a live in a long time since, I don't know, Pre-Hustle podcast. That wasn't even live. So yeah, I haven't done a live in a long time because it was all pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you for everybody for chatting. And I don't know who my next guest will be, but drop a comment on this video once it's actually a video on my channel. And let me know if you have any suggestions on somebody you want me to interview, and we'll try our best to make it happen. So again, Eric, thank you so much. We appreciate
Thanks
it
for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And we'll see all of you guys on the next one.
Bye.